Welcome back again, guys. As promised, this is the third video of the Marvel Crisis Protocol set, and we are going to be talking about the following characters. So we have the Hulk, we have Modok, and we have Venom. So these characters, Modok and the Hulk, were an early release, and then Venom shortly followed afterwards. So what we'll do is we'll have a quick look and go into a bit more detail about some of the tactics and the ways that you can utilize these warriors, and hopefully have some success on the Marvel Crisis Protocol battlefield. There we are. So the first one we will have a look at will be the Hulk. Right, guys, so here we have the Hulk. So this model is awesome. He is huge and cool. I really enjoy painting him. The Hulk. There you are. So the Hulk, one of the standalone characters and expansions in the game. We'll have a quick look at his card. The Hulk has one major difference, which we'll talk about compared to the other characters that we've seen so far. So the Hulk, his alter ego is Bruce Banner. The Hulk has a massive 20 hit points on this side of his card. He has a movement of short, so he is relatively slow, but the actual diameter of the base for this model is what will actually dictate that he does actually move a bit quicker, because you measure from one side of the base to the other when you're moving them using the movement templates. He is the first model to be a height of 4. He has a threat value of 6, so he's the most expensive one we've seen so far. He has a physical defense of 2, an energy defense of 2, and a mystic defense, of 3. He has 3 types of attack. So he has a strike, which is a range of 2. It has a 6 dice pool that it generates, and it uses 0 power to do it. He has a thunderclap, which is a beam weapon. So we spoke about that before. So beam 3, so it hits everybody in the line. Generates 5 dice and requires a power of 3. So quite good if you can get someone or several characters in a line, and then basically do the thunderclap and just smash them all at the same time. He also has Hulk Smash, another physical attack with a range of 2. So all of his attacks are generally quite short range. Generates 8 dice for this attack and requires power 4. Now that sounds quite expensive again. One of the special rules for the Hulk, which we'll look at in a minute, is he generates more power than other characters, which is really useful for getting these off and performing these attacks. Okay, so with regards to his superpowers, so he has something called Gamma Leap. Place this character within 2 range of its current location. This superpower can only be used once per turn. So another way, sorry, it does cost 3. Another way of speeding up the Hulk, you can basically jump him from one side to the other, which is quite helpful to get him into those combats. The next one is the strongest one there is. Has a power cost of 2. Choose an interactive terrain feature or an enemy character, both of size 4 or less within range 2, and you can throw it medium. Once again, it can only use once per turn, so he can throw really big things, so something even bigger than the Daily Bugle that we spoke about in the last video. In a range, during the power phase, this character gains 2 additional power. So every turn, the Hulk will be getting 3 power, which is very useful for doing these high-level items that you require. So you won't like me when I'm angry. You add 1 dice to this character's attack roll for every 3 damage he has taken. Additionally, if this character would flip its stat card to the injured side, so if he becomes dazed, he is knocked out instead. So the big difference between this card and all the others that we've seen so far is that if you get rid of the Hulk's 20, he is no longer in the game. He is out. There is no dazed side to his card. It is exactly the same on the other side. He also has an immunity to poison. So that, guys, is the Hulk. He's an interesting character. He's very expensive, being 6. If you're using the Hulk, you want to be using him in a game preferably with as small threat level as possible. Kind of 15, something like that. Anything bigger, and your opponent will probably have too many threat level points to spend, and they will be able to concentrate all their attacks on the Hulk. I've played with the Hulk, and I've played against the Hulk. What I found when you play with the Hulk, I did play a 15-point game, and he did okay. And when I played a 17-point game against the Hulk, you can concentrate all your attacks on him, and you can take him out relatively quickly. 20 sounds like a lot, but it's not when you're doing 3 or 4 a go with several characters all targeting him at the same time. And because of his threat level cost, there's not many friends to help him out. So he can get kicked off the battlefield quite quickly. So that, guys, is the Hulk. I will now move on to Modok. Okay, guys, so this is Modok. This is his figure. There we go, let's have a quick look at him. Obviously sitting in his cool chair. Quite a cool model. When I put it together, I wasn't too keen on him, but now I've painted him and started to use him in the game a little bit. Do really quite like him. Really quite enjoyed him. So, Modok. Here he is. So, alter ego on Modok is George Talton. Modok has a hit of 10. Has a movement of short. Has a height of 4, so another tall character like the Hulk. His threat value is a massive 5 points, but he is quite worth it, to be honest. We'll talk about that. The defense on Modok is 2 physical, 3 energy, and 3 mystical. He is the first character that we've seen so far in the videos that has the Psionic Blast with a range of 4, generates 6 dice, and requires 0 power. After the attack is resolved, this character gains power equal to the damage dealt. So the kind of thing that we've seen a few times before. He has sap power for a wild score. So before the damage is dealt, the target character loses 1 power for each of the wilds in the attack roll, and the character gains that amount back in power. So another good way to steal that power off people, upset their plans, particularly on maybe a character that they haven't activated yet. You've then got the Doomsday Chair, which is a physical attack. It is a good attack, this one. So has a range of 4, generates a dice of 7, and has a power of 3 required. Has a great special rule called Whirling Blades. After this attack is resolved, this character may make an additional Doomsday Chair attack without paying the power cost. The additional attack must be another character within range 2, and you cannot have the Whirling Blades rule on them again. So basically you'd hit one character, it would then pass across to the next one, and that would be it. This character would also, if you rolled a wild, would get a bleed special rule, which we did talk about before. And the bleed special rule is if they do their activation, they would then take a damage at the end of it if they are still bleeding. So, Mr. Modok's special powers. He has Bow to the Will of Modok. Costs 2 power. You can choose an enemy character within 3, range 3, advance that character short. A character can only be affected once per turn. So a good way to move characters around, particularly if you're using particularly slow ones, like Crossbones, something like that. You can push them in for your Cabal movements. Imbecile. All the world is a weapon to Modok. Power of 2. Choose an interactive terrain feature of size 3 or less within 3 of Modok, and you can throw it long. This superpower can be used once per turn. That's really good to be able to throw things long. Normally it's medium or short. So he is quite a powerful character in that regard. P-Brain. Modok's genius is infinite. So this one here has an X cost on the power. So you would have to spend power to affect it. But how much you choose is up to you. So this character rolls attack or defense dice. It may spend any amount of power to use this superpower. For each one spent, the character can reroll on an attack dice or a defense dice. So basically you can spend the power, which would then really help kind of keep either Modok in the fight or to try and daze that character. If you only need 1 or 2 more damage and you want to daze someone, then you would be spending this to do it. His last one is the Psionic Force Field. Now this is very cheeky. Although his defenses aren't so great, this special ability that he has can really turn the tide for him. It makes him very difficult to remove from the game. When defending against an attack, this character changes wild results in the attack roll to blank. So when people are attacking you, it's amazing when you attack Modok how many wilds you actually roll, because they don't count, he just turns them straight to blank. So there'd be no special rule effects or anything that we spoke about before from the wilds, they're just turned to blank. So that's Modok's first side of his card. What we'll do is we'll have a quick look, we'll flip him over it and see what happens when he gets beaten up and dazed. Okay, so Modok has taken another beating. He doesn't look very happy on his picture. He's not great at all. This card is one of the few cards that gets quite different when it's flipped and he has been dazed. Instead of 10, Modok's hit points has gone down to 4. So he's a lot weaker than he was before. Still the same movement, obviously height, cost. The defenses are all the same as well. He has still the same abilities of the Psionic Blast and the Doomsday Chair. They haven't changed. His superpowers are still there as well, except for the one that basically deletes all of the wilds. So that's a big difference for him. Modok is one of the characters that I've noticed that when you flip his card, he does become very poor and is very easy to destroy. So you have to concentrate on Modok to get rid of him, get him to the side of the card, and then just delete him, because he is poor this side. Until you get to the side of the card, though, he is well worth the 5 points. He's a great Cabal member, so obviously if you're taking the Red Skull, it's a good thing for him. You can use the Red Skull's leadership ability that we spoke about before. And that is really it for Modok, to be honest. So, as I said, try and keep him on his other side of the card. As soon as you go to this side, he becomes very poor. He loses all those cool little abilities that keep him in the fight for longer. And that, guys, is Modok. So the next character we're going to have a look at will be Venom. Okay, guys, so here is Venom. This is one of my favourite characters. I couldn't wait for him to come out. He is awesome. This is the model. So I've painted mine fairly flat. I just highlighted the black up a bit, did his tongue, that kind of thing. But then what I did do is I did hit him with a gloss varnish. It just kind of makes him look all shiny and Venom-like from the comic books and from the movie. He just looks really cool. We'll have a quick look at his card. So this is Venom. His alter ego is Eddie Brock. He has a massive hit points of 7. He only moves short, so he is quite a slow-moving character. He's height 3, has a threat value of 4. His defenses are quite good, so he's a physical defense of 4. Energy weapons are not Venom's friend. He only has an energy defense of 2 and a mystic defense of 3. So Venom's quite a cool character in regards to the fact that he's got quite a lot of chunky hit points there. And he's also one of the few characters that can heal himself. So we'll talk about that now. He has two attacks. So his 0 power 1 is physical. So symbiote tendrils. Range of 3, so a good range on it. 5 dice, 0 power to do it. Once again, you gain the power for the damage you deal. And after the attack is resolved, the target gains the bleed special rule. You don't have to have a wild for this to affect, Basically, he just makes them bleed. He just pierces their skin and damages them. He has another cool ability called We Are Venom. Once again, another physical attack. Range 3, 7 dice for We Are Venom, so quite a few dice, but an expensive power cost of 3 power. After this attack is resolved, the character removes 1 damage from himself for each damage inflicted. So he has the ability, once you've got that power saved up, the 3 power, to heal his own wounds, which is very good, particularly in a game where you don't want to get dazed and taken out. You want to control objectives. You want to stay in the fight for as long as possible. He can do that. When you're using cards as well, patch up, things like that, you can keep your characters in for longer. It's very rare that you can actually heal your own characters. But this is a really good ability for him. He has a few special powers. So he has a Clintar Rage, which is 3 power. Choose an interactive terrain, feature, or character of both of size 3 or less, and within range 2, and you can throw out medium. So once again, you can push people off objectives, you can pull them off the objective, you can throw things at them and do the damage. He has Web Snare, power of 2. Push an enemy character within 4 towards this character medium. A character can be pushed by the superpower only once per turn. So another great way of getting people off those objectives. So many snacks. After an attack against this character is resolved, you can use this superpower. If the attacker is within 3, this character can make an attack against the attacker. This superpower can only be used once per turn. So when someone has a go at attacking you, you get the opportunity to fight them back. Costs 2 power to do that. But once again, it's another cheeky tactic for Venom, and it does irritate people when you do it back to them. He has Symbiotic Instincts. When this character is attacking, the defending character cannot modify their defense dice. So they can't change their dice. They can't modify one, blanks into something else. They just can't do it. You can't do it against him. He just knows what's going on. And then he's a wall crawler. So like Spider-Man, like Dr. Ock, he can go up and down terrain, and he'll use his movement of slow. So actually it doesn't really make much difference to him to be wall crawler, really. So that's Venom's side before he's defeated. Okay, so Venom has now become dazed. He's lost his 7 hit points, and we've had to flip his card over. His picture looks quite cool now, so the symbiote's kind of losing coherency around poor old Eddie. The only difference to this card, when you do daze it, is he just goes down to 6 hit points instead of 7. So, not much to talk about really with Venom. He doesn't have an affiliation. He's another Spider character, Spider Universe character that doesn't have anything yet. I'd imagine that there'll be an affiliated card, and he would probably be in it with Dr. Ock and Spider-Man. But at the moment, there's no affiliation for Venom. He's got a few cool little cheeky cards that you can use, like Lethal Protector and stuff like that, that will basically be able to move him a bit more than it looks like at the moment. Because his movement is slow, he doesn't look like he's going to be great. But I found actually that when you do use him, you use cards like Lethal Protector, you do spend probably the first turn just moving him twice. You can kind of get him to where he needs to be. He's a great support character. And he does have that resilience to be able to stay on those objectives and keep control of those objectives. And he's one of the few characters that can actually heal himself. So at the moment, I think he is a good choice for 4 points, for threat level. And I do use him quite a lot, to be honest. So that is Venom, guys. So we spoke about the 3 single figures that came out just after the initial release. Obviously the Hulk, Modok and Venom. Hopefully you can find spots for them in your teams. Obviously the Hulk is an Avenger, so he has the Avenger affiliation. Modok is a Cabal character, so he has the Cabal affiliation. I say no affiliation for Venom yet, unfortunately, bless him. But I'm sure there'll be something in the pipeline for him. So do try and get your characters used, get them in the game. And that's really it for these 3 characters. They do add extra things. Obviously, Modok's got Mystic Attack, Venom can kind of heal himself. And the Hulk doesn't flip his card, he just has 20 massive hit points. So, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. My next one will be on Wakanda. So we'll have a look at the 4 Wakandan characters that are out so far. And stay safe, guys, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much.